I'm Krstl. I've been in beautiful Boquete about 3.5 years. I moved here from Las Vegas, but I was born and raised in Chicago.
And I'm Mark, and I'm from New York and California and Green Bay, Wisconsin, most recent. And I've been here almost 2 years now.
Yes, I would love to talk about how we met. I had previously done a video for Jackie for the Panama Relocation tour, and Mark took the tour, and he had seen the video before he took the tour. So I have a booth at the Tuesday market. I sell organic essential oils and skincare. And he had seen the video, so when he saw me in the market, he kind of knew who I was. And we started talking, and then he took my card with him, and he sent me a WhatsApp and invited me out for coffee. Wonderful coffee. We went to Buckle Tip, one of our favorite restaurants, for coffee. And then he called again and asked, are the coffee shops still open? Because that was right at the beginning of the lockdown, and the coffee shops were not open. So I invited him to my house for coffee. And that was 1.5 years ago. We've had coffee together every day since then. I do. I get to meet wonderful people from all over the world. Some become friends. Some become more than friends. But I love being at the Tuesday market. My business came about quite unintentionally. I broke my wrist right after I got here. And I didn't bring my essential oils with me when I moved here because all the bottles were open. And I didn't want to travel with open bottles of essential oil. So the only one that wasn't open just happened to be my daughter's favorite. And the rest got given away. So after I broke my wrist, I went to the local health food store. I bought tea tree oil for healing. And I told the lady the stitches come out in 10 days, and at that point, I'll need frankincense. She picks up the phone, she calls San Francisco. They said it'll be on the truck, it'll be there Thursday. Well, it wasn't. And then the following Thursday, she called me at home. She assured me it'll be here today, come in after 2. They had torn up the street in front of the health food store. The truck was there, but could not get in. So now we're 2 weeks without the frankincense. The stitches are out. So I had to go online and order frankincense to get it here as soon as possible because I didn't want to wait and let too much healing take place without using the frankincense to help cut down on the scarring. So the oil came, it was okay, but I wasn't crazy about it, so I ordered from another company. And then it occurred to me, I bet other people would appreciate some good organic essential oils. So I started my research. I found a few suppliers that offered good organic oils. I got a booth at the Tuesday market, and I started with just the essential oils and handmade soap. And Jackie was visiting me one day, and she was helping me pour up stuff because the counter was full of things, and she was helping me. And she washed her hands and used my body butter. It was my own personal jar. I just made it for me, but she fell in love with it, and she encouraged me to add the body butter to my line, and it just grew from there. Now it's a real business, and I just love it. The people at the Tuesday market, they're warm, they're friendly, they're open. I get along with all the vendors. Some of the vendors have become friends, and I really like meeting people from all over the world. So whenever you're here, come to the Tuesday market. When I first moved here, I lived in a B&B over the multi-bank. That did not work out well for me at all. Then Jackie found me a place. Actually, it's Jorge's brother's duplex. Right in town, I could walk to everything. The house was reasonably new, it was well appointed, and I totally loved it. But that particular location was so cold, I just couldn't stay there. So when my year was up, I moved to Volcancito. Loved that house. Bright, sunny, horses and cows would come to visit. That's where I was living when I met Mark. So we moved from there to a house right in town on the creek, beautiful house. It had its quirks though. And Mark had really gotten into gardening at that point, so we needed more space. So we moved here. We've been here 4 months now. Love it. We're renting. We chose not to buy because of our age. In Panama, banks won't finance you if you're over 70. They will finance you at 69 and a half, and that gives you half a year to get the house paid off. So we just chose not to go that route. We're renting. We have a lovely, lovely landlady that lives in Panama City, a phone call, and whoever we need, they're here so quick. It's like, how did she get in touch with them? How did she get them out here? But they're right here whenever we need anything. It's a quirky house. We'll go inside and you can take a look around. It's kind of quirky, but it works for us. We love the peace and tranquility here. We have the space we need. Mark can grow all the veggies he wants.
Behind you.
And the view is amazing. It's a joy and a pleasure and a blessing to wake up every day to this view. So renting is working for us. I kind of know most of the realtors in town, so I just put the word out. And the realtor that ultimately found us this house, she had showed us one other. I told her what we didn't like about it. This was number 2 on the list, and it's working for us. This beautiful house, I'm paying $1,200 a month, which is kind of mid-range because there's certainly housing. We had lunch with a friend yesterday who's living in a house 8 miles up the mountain. He's paying $450 a month. He has awesome views. He loves it. Then we have friends that are living in a house. They're paying $3,000 a month. So $1,200, we're kind of in the middle. And that's another thing I love about Boquete when people talk about, I don't know if I can afford it, this or that. You can afford it because there's housing here for you, whatever your price range is. It's not like you have to pay $1,000 a month or you have to live in a little tiny place. Whatever your budget is, you'll find it right here in beautiful Boquete. And if you're lucky, you'll get something as beautiful as what we have. And you might even have cows come to visit you. I totally love the cows coming to visit. They come right up to the porch. I think they feel the love that's on this property and they just want to be a part of it. And I encourage them. I want them to come and bring their friends. It's just a phenomenal place to live. And this house, we pay all of the utilities. The gas is a little high. We have the big, tall gas tanks. We have two of them. And it seems like we're going through a tank in about 2.5 months. And the big tanks are $80 to refill. The lights, we have sun coming in and light from every area, so we don't have a lot of electricity usage. Last month's bill was $16 and some cents. So we're paying a little bit more for gas than we've paid in other places we've lived, but then we're paying less for electricity because we don't need lights in the daytime. So it kind of balances out.
We don't pay for air conditioning
Or heat.
or heat because we don't have a heater and we don't have an air conditioner, and you don't need it.
Right, right, right.
That's amazing. I mean, the low temperatures every day are in the 60s. The high temperatures every day are in the 70s.
One of the greatest challenges coming from the US is I'm just spoiled. You know, when I order something, I expect it on my doorstep in 2 days, and that's just not gonna happen here in Panama. It takes a few days to get from wherever you ordered it to Miami. Then it could be a week from Miami to here, so you really have to know in advance what you're looking for. And I've tried really hard to be local as much as possible. We shop all over Boquete, of course. We shop all over David. We've gone to Panama City a few times. So as much as possible, I would like to shop local. But they're just things that are not available here. A lot of the supplies I need for my business are simply not available. I love my pretty blue bottles and I'm not giving them up. They're not available here. I can get clear or amber. So as much as I hate it, I do a lot of online shopping. So that's probably the only thing I would find challenging. Come with an open mind, come with an open heart. Know that you're in a new place. It's going to be different. It is not the U.S., only smaller. It is not the U.S., only cheaper. It's a whole different country. The attitude here is different. It's open, it's warm, it's receiving. You can grow here. Whatever your passion is, you can find it right here in Boquete. Since I've been here, I've taken a class in Tai Chi, I've taken Feldenkrais, I've taken an astrology class, I've taken classes in Spanish. There's book clubs, there's gardening clubs, there's knitting. Animales, the animal shelter, is a big, big deal here in Boquete. So whatever your passion is, it's right here. It's amazing. Things I've always wanted to do and just never had the time when I was in the U.S. I have the time now, so I'm just doing all sorts of new things. They've got biking, hiking. We attend a lot of events at the library. When we leave here, we're going to the library today to listen to a lecture about the volcanoes and what may happen, and Volcan Baru. So there's always something wonderful and exciting, or there's friends of ours do line dance lessons. It's just amazing. Boquete is a small town, but because we're made up of people from all over the world, whatever you're interested in is available right here. We brought our skills with us, and what we didn't bring with us, there are people here that are willing to share theirs. One of the good things about being in Panama is the diversity of climate. If you like mountains, which I do, we've got it here. If you like the beach, that's available. If you like it warmer or colder, whatever you like, you can pretty much find it here. Mark is a beach person. I am not. We have been to Bocas del Toro. We've been to Boca Chica. So I've kind of had it with beach towns. But they're available. A lot of my good friends that went on the tour, settled in Boquete, have since moved on and gone to beach towns. Never in a million years could I have imagined life in Panama would be so incredibly good. Coming from the U.S., I had a lot of challenges all my life. Moving to Panama, those challenges just don't exist. Everybody accepts you for who you are. Nobody is judging you because of who you are or where you came from or your ethnicity or I've had no judgment whatsoever. The people are just warm and open and receptive. So it's way better than I ever imagined. I moved here as a single woman, a retired school teacher. I did have my hobbies and things I enjoyed doing, but I kind of thought I would live a life of retirement as a single woman. And the love of my life walks in while I'm selling my oils, just doing my thing. I thought selling my oils was good. I loved it. And then because of the relocation tour, he took the tour, saw the video, found the
Yep.
love of my life in Panama. I never expected that.
I was listening to a podcast from a doctor that I would follow on the internet. Anyway, she has Jackie Lang as a guest on her podcast. So happens this doctor lived in Boquete, Panama. She was, an American, and she was an expat. And I had been listening to other podcasts from other people, doing some little bit of research about Central America, and nothing that I'd heard at that time had motivated me. I just had this curiosity about retiring in Central America. And then I hear Jackie, and she's talking about Boquete and Panama, and many things are less expensive than the United States. And certainly someone who is a retiree will be able to afford to live here. So that really perked my curiosity. And Jackie was so encouraging about the idea. When I was listening, I was just about, to go to bed. I just jumped up, and I had to, turn on the light, get a pencil and paper, and write down PanamaRelocationTours.com, so I could find it again. And I read that PanamaRelocationTours.com extensively, and I was just more and more and more encouraged. I decided to take the next available tour, which was in which was 6 months later, January of 2020. And I came here expecting to stay a few months to check out the lay of the land or whatever. The COVID lockdowns began while I was here, and I couldn't go back to the United States. So it took 14 months before I could, go back to the United States. And, in the meantime, I met Krstl, which was a wonderful, wonderful thing to happen. When I was here in Boquete, I just loved the view. Everybody has probably seen the river, the beautiful river that comes through the town. It's something on every so many videos, I would certainly recommend Jackie's tour. It was just wonderful. It was so exciting. I'd never been to Panama before, and coming here alone, I'm not that necessarily outgoing, or I'm more reserved, I guess. But the the people on the tour became like instant friends, a camaraderie. It was a camaraderie of kind of like-minded people as far as, looking to make, might this be my new home? And so it was fun. It was good. The hotels were very nice. The food was very good, 3 meals a day, and, it ended here in Boquete for me, and I stayed.
And for me, the end of the tour was what I was waiting for, because I had already been to Panama for a week on my own, and I knew I wanted to live here. So for me, taking the tour was just to solidify the fact that yes, this is where you want to go. I saw the whole country, because on the tour you go from one end to the other, so I got to see the whole country. And I kept saying, yeah, this is nice, but I'm waiting on Boquete. I'm waiting on Boquete. And what really impressed me about the tour is all of your questions are answered during the tour. I had a notebook. I had written so many things down. Jackie and her daughter Melissa had answered many of my questions by phone and video and email before I even got here. And the new questions that I had written down were answered on the tour. And one of the things that I really like about the Panama Relocation Tour is that the tour doesn't end when the tour ends. Jackie is a local. She lives here. She's always available. So if you have questions or a problem comes up, anything happens after the tour, you are not alone. And for me, coming here as a single woman, it was comforting to me and my daughter to know that Jackie was right here in town, and I could pick up the phone and call her if anything came up. It got to where even to this day, when I talk to my daughter, she'll often ask, and how's Jackie doing? Because she's a real person, she's a real friend. She loves her town, and she wants you to love it too. So all of your questions will be answered. The tour is phenomenal. We only stay in nice places. You get to meet people in all parts of the country. I've actually become friends with people in other parts of the country that I either met on the tour that have moved to other places, or they were a speaker when we were taking the tour. We exchanged numbers, and some of them I've kept in touch with. So I've got family all over the country of Panama. There's so many things I love about Panama. One of the things that really impressed me is the phenomenal health care that's available in our tiny little country. I had a severe allergic reaction, and I did need medical attention. So I started with a local doctor here in town. That visit was $12. I understand he's now gone up to a whopping $15 for an office visit. And he ended up sending me to specialists in David, I had to get extensive lab work done. I had a second visit with the specialist, several prescriptions, and the whole thing, all the visits, all the tests, the MRI, the prescriptions, the lab, the whole thing total just under $200. And they're just so kind and loving. They really want you to get well. And then I ended up having, I knew I needed cataract surgery before I came here, but it wasn't bad enough yet. I had to wait until I couldn't read to finally bite the bullet and get the surgery. And Jackie Lang recommended the doctor I went to in Panama City. And we did have to overnight because he wanted to do a 24-hour checkup after the surgery. So we saw him the next day. He called me the day after that, after I got home, to see how I was doing. Then he called the day after that too, just to see how are you doing, are the drops working, are you having any problems. He had already given me a cell phone number and said if you have any issues at all, anytime, day or night, call me and I'll get someone to you. It's amazing. And one of the hospital that the eye surgeon is affiliated with is part of the Johns Hopkins family of doctors. So they're top flight. I know people that have had heart surgery here, recovered well, no problem. The doctors will come to your house and check on you. It's amazing. Not just the price, but that the doctors here seem to really care about treating you as a patient, as a human being. They want you to be healthy and well. And that impresses me.
I believe it's about 3 acres. So that's real nice, you know. I was thinking about, I'm just getting into gardening, grow your own food thing. And but we're renting, so I figured, let's do it all in pots. So we have, behind you the various vegetables and herbs growing. So it's kind of fun. It's fun, It's my new hobby, I guess you'd call it. But
Yeah,
I get a kick out of going outside and cutting something and putting it in the salad or cooking it up for dinner. It's fun.
Yeah, Mark has really taken to gardening, and one of the pastimes I've picked up, I've really gotten into fermenting
Okay.
sauerkraut and all kinds of vegetables, and tapache, which is a pineapple drink that is fermented, and I make kefir beverages. It's just so much fun. And these are things I had never heard of tapache when I lived in the U.S., and it's become my favorite beverage. I had never heard of water kefir before I moved here, and that too is a beverage we drink a lot. I knew about milk kefir, but we don't do a lot of dairy. Occasionally an ice cream cone, but we don't do a lot of dairy. So to find out about water kefir, and you can make it yourself and chill it and share it with your friends. It's just amazing the things that open up to you when you're happy where you live. When you're living someplace beautiful, you just find more ways to fill your time with things you fall in love with doing. And if you don't want to do it yourself, there's a class going on in town. There's something going on. My Tai Chi instructor is now offering free classes on Saturday morning at the new park in town. So that's beautiful. Not only do you get to move your body in a healthy way, you get to be with friends, and you're out in a beautiful, beautiful park. So the activities here just go on and on. And I'm getting ready to, my Tuesday market product line keeps growing and growing because people keep asking, do you have this? Do you have that? So now I'm making soap, and I'm getting ready to start a weekly soap making class. So that'll be another activity that's going on right here in Boquete. When I decided to leave Chicago, it was because I couldn't take another winter. And I left Chicago with the ice and the snow, and I moved to the desert. I lived in the desert for over 20 years, and I loved it. So when I decided I was going to have to leave the country, temperature was important to me. It couldn't be too hot like the desert. It couldn't be too cold like Chicago winters. And the weather here, the temperature pretty much stays the same year round. It's always in the 70s, which is wonderful for me. And we do have two seasons, wet and dry. Right now we're going away from the wet season. We're entering the dry season, and it is windy. I don't know why they call Chicago the Windy City. They have not been here. This is windy, but it's not cold. It's not that biting wind. It's almost pleasant. And if you don't mind getting up every morning and go look in the gully and look all around and find your lawn furniture, you can deal with the wind. It's not that big a deal. And the rainy season isn't bad. This year we seem to have, in the area we live in, we seem to have more rain than they had in town. The rain would start earlier here than it would in town, and it would last longer. But it's rain. What's not to love? So if you can deal with rain or wind, perfect temperature year round. And whatever, it seems like whatever season we're in, that's my favorite. When it's raining every day, I get up and say, yeah, I like the rainy season better. And watching everything is green, everything is growing, the air smells clean and fresh. So that's my favorite season. But then when it gets windy, I'm thinking, ooh, that's kind of brisk. I like the feel of that. I love watching the trees sway back and forth. And I don't mind going to chase my lawn furniture. So this time of year, this is my favorite.
One thing that was different when I first started to drive here in Panama, it was a little daunting. Uh, you don't see the kind of shoulders on the road that we might be used to in the United States. The curbs are very uneven. You have to look real good before you park your car because the road might go down, a foot, and that'll be a difficult thing. Uh, and there's different courtesies that I was unfamiliar with, signals. Like if there's a car that's double parked and he wants you to go around him, he'll turn on his left blinker. And I'm thinking, oh, okay, well, okay, you got your left blinker on, well, go. No, he's telling me to go. And the courtesy, if yielding the right of way or saying that you can come ahead, they'll flip their lights at you once or twice. And that means go ahead, whatever it is. And it's a lot of two-lane highway, and sometimes they feel like they're one lane, those two lanes. And so you just have to learn, the courtesies about looking where you should pull over
Right.
or go ahead or whatever.
Yeah, driving is certainly different here, but you adjust. This is
you
a
adjust.
different country. It's a different way of life from anything that I'm used to, but I was open to learning. I was open to adapting because I want to be a part of this community. And that means learning how to drive the way the Panamanians drive. I did fall off into a ditch. There are no curbs, there's no shoulder of the road, it just drops off. And I was making a U turn the front wheel fell off, and people just showed up from nowhere to get my car out of the ditch. Nobody wanted any money. I'm trying to get back in the car to get my wallet to pay them. I look around, the guys are gone. It's amazing. So you just have to know that there is probably no curb and the road is just going to drop off. You get used to that and you learn how to park right on the edge but not over it. So it's a challenge, but it's all a part of adapting to being in a different country. Some of the roads that are paved now were not paved even 3 years ago when I first moved here. So it's getting better, but still, it's an adjustment. It's an adjustment. And like Mark was saying, for drivers to be flashing their lights at you, you're thinking, what have I done? What's going on? They're just telling you, you can go ahead of me. So the driving in the bigger cities, even David, can be a challenge, but the drivers, they're just trying to get from where they're going from where they are to where they want to go. And you got to do the same. You just have to learn how to drive like a Panamanian.
Yeah.